Today on CityCast Pittsburgh. Many months after a study found we're short on bathrooms downtown, city officials think they've finally found a solution. And they also want us, city residents, to take care of their deer problem. Plus, there's a viral video floating around that asks a question locals should be very, very familiar with. It's September 1st, the Friday News Roundup. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh is talking about. I'm with CityCast newsletter editor Francesca DeBecco. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
And lead producer Mallory Fogg. How's it going?
Going pretty well.
Mallory and I are both tucked into our closets. It is so early in the morning as we're recording this. Mallory, you want to just jump us straight into potty talk?
Always here for the potty talk. I do want to start by asking if either of you have ever had a bathroom emergency in downtown Pittsburgh.
I mean, yeah, I've definitely had some close calls. I've always been lucky enough to have some accessibility, having went to school downtown and worked downtown. I had offices and things,
yeah.
But, you know,
You always had the hookup.
Yeah, but there, you know, you definitely still have some close calls.
I have not had an emergency. I think just because of my privilege, I usually had a couple of bucks that I could go buy a coffee or a sandwich or a bottle of water and borrow a bathroom. But I can see how lots and lots of people don't have that option.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the bathroom situation downtown has definitely been an issue for a little while now.
Yeah.
We did an episode last year about the public restroom situation in downtown Pittsburgh. Some students at Point Park had done a study about the lack of public restrooms. They found that about a quarter of people spending time downtown can't find a place to use the restroom. A lot of them end up going home, leaving. So that's, business that downtown is losing out on. And then also, of course, it's like not humane for the unhoused folks who are living there to have nowhere that they can use the bathroom or wash up.
Right. I was trying to think like if I've had an experience in another city where they had like a good bathroom situation downtown. Have you guys had any like good examples of this?
Definitely internationally. Like every time I've traveled to Western Europe, usually there's a bathroom option. Sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not. China actually has an amazing public bathroom situation, at least the very small parts that I've been to. But like I went on a trip to Savannah, Georgia last year, and they had a pretty decent setup. Like some of them were paid, but all of them had like nice facilities and somewhere to go, which is not for nothing for a city on the river in the middle of like, the South where it's hot as heck.
I haven't been to Portland, but it sounds like they might have actually found a decent solution for having more public restrooms. Back when we did the Downtown Pittsburgh potty episode, we talked to Adam Smeltz, who'd done an article on this for Pittsburgh Magazine. And he mentioned this thing called the Portland Loo. It originated in Portland, but it's now in other cities as well. And It's these sort of standalone units. Portland's got at least 20 at this point. I saw that they installed some in San Antonio, Texas, and found that having this in place saved the city close to $250,000 in street cleaning expenses.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that seems like, some of these cities that maybe didn't have an incredible public restroom infrastructure to start with have found that this works pretty well.
Yeah.
So, Mallory, tell us about what the city of Pittsburgh is thinking about doing, what they're in the process of doing.
Yeah, so I bring all of this up because the city just announced a 6-month pilot to install 3 kind of temporary trailer-like public restrooms downtown, and then eventually, ideally, create more permanent facilities for folks. So they haven't said yet where those will go. The idea is to put them in some highly trafficked areas. That Point Park study had said places like Market Square, the Cultural District, some of the transit hubs might be good places to install public restrooms. And these are going to be open daily from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And they'll actually be staffed. There will be attendants there during that time.
I can see a huge utility for something like this. I mean, just like if you're a trail user, for example, like it's really difficult to find a bathroom to use. Actually, they have a ton of them on the North Shore Trail, but often they're locked, which is totally unhelpful.
Yeah. And then it's almost like even worse if you see it ahead of you and you're like, oh, there's a porta potty I can
I
use.
have felt that help.
You're racing to it with a very full bladder.
Yeah, and then you get there and you see the lock and you're like, oh no.
Oh, no. I mean, we're laughing, but this is a really real problem, and everyone knows this feeling. Like, everyone can relate. So, I think this is something to definitely help downtown, kind of even improve its reputation locally with the Pittsburgh public.
And it's scent.
And it's
scent.
Yeah, very critical. Yeah, you mentioned the reputation, Francesca. I'm kind of curious. We all work together downtown in this co-working space. It's this great spot called the Pittsburgh Media Hub. It's for small local reporting outlets through Point Park University. So we're down there quite often, and it's been weird watching how people, or some people at least, talk about downtown as this kind of like hellscape, dystopian hellscape.
Yeah.
Does that line up with your experiences there?
No, certainly not. I mean, I've heard people, they're like, I don't know if I feel safe to go downtown anymore. And I'm like, what? I mean,
I would ask, did you ever? Like,
Yeah.
are you a downtown person?
Yeah.
Because if you don't feel safe right now, I don't know what's changed.
Right, exactly. I feel like it hasn't changed all that much since I was, working and going to school down there, just being like hopping around the city and going to classes and going to the restaurants and things. And I just don't see much of a difference other than maybe it was odd for people to see less people downtown. Maybe that was even like a thing, like
a
after
pandemic
the pandemic
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like it looked eerie to not have
more activity.
The hustle and bustle. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, I mean, I've lived places where pre-pandemic downtown kind of felt like a ghost town and you were sort of the only one there. So to me, right now, downtown feels pretty vibrant.
I think the only thing I will give comments like that, it depends on how you use downtown, right? Like if you only come in like once or twice a year for a show or a big event, then downtown might feel different. Like, I feel like the city had this enormous PR push when Market Square was like overhauled and they did all the rehabilitation for Point State Park. And so when they turned the fountain back on and they had all these nice new bright red umbrellas in Market Square, like people were told, come back. It's great now. We want you to experience downtown. And it is a little dingy by comparison to when all that stuff was brand new in 2013. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's just we've used our good stuff, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing. However, I think there's still this perception that crime is up in downtown, and the city keeps saying it's not, and the Pittsburgh Police Department keeps saying it's not. But if people feel unsafe, I don't know if the actual truth of it matters. Like perception is really important.
Right. But is this also people, see unhoused folks and that inherently makes them feel unsafe? Like if crime actually isn't up, then what are they perceiving what's happening to give them that feeling?
Yeah, I don't want to give anyone a pass here. Like, I think that's just like suburban people who aren't used to seeing what a city looks like, acting like unhoused people are something to be afraid of, when in fact it's the systemic problems around them that we should all have more fear about. Hey Pittsburgh, it's Megan. If you're craving a delicious scoop on a hot summer day, get yourself up to Bakery Square. It's the new local home for Jenny's Ice Cream in Pittsburgh. I know, it's sort of sacrilegious here to love an Ohio brand this much, but y'all, I've been a Jenny's stan for years. Their flavors are so creative. The brown butter almond brittle, the brambleberry crisp, the darkish chocolate. They have dairy-free and gluten-free options too, and they'll be dropping new flavors every week now through August 10th. I am so stoked that I can finally get my from-scratch Jenny's Fix right here in Pittsburgh at Target, Whole Foods, even Giant Eagle. Find all their flavors and fun facts at Jenny's, that's JENIS.com.
Pittsburgh has a deer problem. I'm sure you're all aware of this. You'll probably see them out there.
Bambi is everywhere, but they're very cute, unfortunately.
I I know. They're so cute. According to the USDA, there are around 51 deer per square mile in city parks, and there should be closer to 10. So we are far above what the healthy amount should be. And unfortunately, this overpopulation of deer can lead to the spread of Lyme's disease, through the ticks that they carry. It limits the forest's ability to regenerate because they feed a lot of on native species and sort of like brush up against a lot of trees and things. And it can also cause more car crashes.
If you see a deer sign, you best take it seriously. If the traffic is felt it's a problem enough to put up a sign, it usually is.
Exactly. Yes. Have you guys had any weird deer interactions lately?
Not weird. I think just the standard amount of like seeing city deer just frolic across like intersections, and not small amounts of them either, like 2 and 5 and 20 suddenly in a field. Yeah. Or 4.
I definitely have noticed them on my bike when I bike through Stanton Heights. I pass through Stanton Heights to get to work, and there will be some deer just like chilling on someone's front lawn, and I feel like we like give each other a little friendly nod, good morning, and continue on our ways.
Yeah, a friend of mine on the north side has been documenting the deer, the turkey at her neighborhood in Observatory Hill, and it's just like constant. There's bands of them just floating through the neighborhood.
Well, Riverview Park is a particularly tough area. There's a big deer population there. I'm on the north side as well, so I have a good bit of the wooded area around me. And my partner said the other day he saw this ginormous deer literally leap over top of his car in our driveway, like from the end to the beginning. And I was like, I don't know what I would have done if I saw that. At least you weren't driving. At least it was parked. But
I feel like y'all need a ring cam just to capture moments like that.
I know. So anyhow, this deer problem, the city is trying to control it. Officials are proposing a controlled bow hunting pilot program in Frick and Riverview parks ahead of the fall hunting season. It's set up to be about 30 people, and participants need to have a license and pass additional qualifications, so like skill tests and things. And they said that the parks would close for like a designated hunting day.
I'm glad for that, at least. I was kind of curious how this could roll out. I am skeptical that 30 people is even enough to make a difference in either one of these spaces.
Yeah, the mayor's office couldn't really estimate how many deer will be eliminated in each park. And so I don't know if they're very sure either.
I don't know. To me, like, it's just striking that you have to be authorized for this, but not to own a gun. Like, seems like there are more protections and considerations for, our deer population than for school kids.
Yeah. You are not wrong. I mean, people are feeling a lot of things about this. Like, obviously, it's not fun to think about us just going out and like hunting the deer in our park. Councilor Bruce Krause, he was one of the only members of council to vote against the program, and he argued that the city should focus on developing like more humane approaches like sterilization. I don't know how they would do that exactly, but they said that it was cruel to let like the species overpopulate to a point where the only solution is to go out and slaughter.
I love the concept of trap, neuter, release for a deer. Like, can you imagine the trapping portion of that? It would be so hard.
It's hard enough for us to do that for cat populations.
Francesca, did they say what happens to the carcasses? Because like usually with deer hunting, like you can only kill so many in a season, and then it's your responsibility to then take care of the dead deer.
Yeah, it's not clear exactly who would be responsible for the animal carcasses, but they must be dressed off-site.
That's ridiculous. I'd like to see Ed Gainey drag a deer out of the park. It is so much easier to field dress.
I know nothing about that, but
I'm really going back to
difficult.
My country roots here, but like, seriously, how dare you?
No, yeah, it seems like it would be a lot. Like, and they don't really have a designated place, so it seems, and so it's kind of like a free-for-all, it feels like. But
I'm also imagining just like going for an afternoon walk and seeing people just like dragging bleeding deers out onto the curb.
I mean, people do it. Like, if you don't want to dress your own deer, you can take it to a meat processor and they will do it for you. I just think, like, I was brought up in the tradition that if you kill it, you string it up right there and you take care of it. Like, that's just part of the process. Lots of hunters don't do that, and I respect that choice too.
Well, I mean, speaking of the meat aspect, they're also making a rule that the first doe a hunter kills during the program must be donated to the local food bank, which I didn't even know you could donate deer meat to our local bank.
Yeah, I mean, can they actually accept donations like that? Like, I know at least buying and selling wild game here is illegal.
Right.
Yeah, I got curious about this. It is technically legal to donate it. There's actually an entire organization that works nationwide with food banks. I cannot tell if the Greater Pittsburgh Area Food Bank is one of their partners. They don't list them, but there's like a funny list of stipulations. One of them is that you have to use one of their processors. There's a couple in Allegheny County. We'll link them in the show notes.
Interesting. Yeah. So the deal here is council advanced 2 bills to establish this program. One basically makes an exception to the law that you can't hunt in city parks, and the other creates a contract between the city and the USDA. They said this is expected to cost between $10,000 and $11,000. Council is going to bring a final vote next week.
Hey Pittsburgh, did you know we're almost halfway to St. Patrick's Day? The 32nd annual Pittsburgh Irish Festival is taking over the Kerry Blast Furnaces in Swissvale again for 3 days of live music, Irish food and beverages, a huge maker market, kids crafts and games, axe throwing, plus short tours of the historic steelmaking site itself. You can even learn about Gaelic sports with on-site lessons and demos, genealogy, or take a virtual reality tour of the Cliffs of Moher. I've seen the real cliffs, and trust me, it'll be great to skip the whole windbreaker thing. And don't worry about Yin's teams. There's going to be a huge big screen to watch the Pirates and the Steelers games that weekend. It's all happening September 8th, 9th, and 10th. Find tickets and more at pghirishfest.org. All right, Jens, we're going to get real ridiculous to end the day. I'm going to send you a picture of a Nittany lion.
Like Penn State?
Yeah, please look at this animal.
Okay. It's pretty.
It's a regal cat. It's a mountain lion. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got nice fur, beautiful eyes.
Gorgeous.
Nice little Simba mouth there.
Oh, yeah.
Real
White at the
soulful.
It
mouth.
is very Simba.
Yeah.
Handsome.
Okay, now look at this creature.
Uh-oh.
I'm nervous. Oh, my goodness.
This is so janky.
Is this real?
This is the Penn State Nittany lion that is on field at games. Do those two animals look remotely similar to you?
Not even the slightest. It looks more like a bear.
Well, I'm not a Penn State fan. I grew up in SEC country and know that alone is sacrilegious. But I thought that this viral video that's going through Pittsburgh right now is hilarious. I've seen this guy before, this content creator, Josh Mancuso. He makes videos for lots of schools, so he's not just picking on Penn State. But he makes this sort of like back and forth where he's playing every character and they're having a conversation as if they're the ones behind some of these more inspired school choices. Here's a clip.
All right, welcome back to Penn State. You guys were in charge of selecting our mascot and some other stuff, so what'd you come up with?
So we thought we should have the best, most fiercest king of all animals, a lion.
Yes, yeah, the Penn State Lions. I love it.
But not just any lion.
Not just any lion?
A Nittany lion.
A what?
A Nittany lion.
Nittany lion?
Yeah, Nittany.
Nittany.
No, not Ninny. Nittany.
Nittany?
Yeah, not so much on the T, Nittany, just Nittany.
Nittany lion. What is that?
You know that mountain? Mountain Nittany behind campus? We were hiking the other day back there. We saw a real life mountain lion.
We did. We saw it.
I saw it first. I did.
Wait, so it's not like a big lion with a mane?
Nope, it's more like a cougar, panther, puma, large cat lion.
Okay, right. So what's the mascot going to look like?
Well, we drew up a little costume last night. Here it is.
It looks like a skinny bear on meth.
It's not very nice. We could draw a new one. We'll start over.
No, we don't have time. Is there anything we can do to make him look like he didn't just bump a kilo of Columbia's finest?
Here, let me see. I mean, it looks like he just got up from an all-night bender.
What is this?
I put a scarf on him. Is he cold? It's distinguished. He looks like a flea market Build-A-Bear.
Flea market Build-A-Bear.
But I think he's right.
No, he's not wrong. Like, why is the mouth position like this? Like, it looks scary. And it does not do the service to this gorgeous creature.
No, it's horrific. We'll have a link in our show notes to this guy's channel and some of his creations. They're on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, but they're all fun like this.
I'm curious, what is the worst mascot that you know of? Like, does this guy even rank near the top?
Oh, the New Orleans Pelican, hands down. Like the old one, not the current one. That thing was like a red and yellow nightmare.
The one where children were so scared when they unveiled it that they said he needed to undergo plastic surgery and then reemerged with a completely new look.
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
goodness.
It's not bad now, but the first one, the first pass, horrific. I can't believe they actually put that thing into production.
I'm thinking more like locally. I don't know. It's not that it's bad looking, but what was the dog in the trench coat? I'm thinking about the
that's
mission.
not local. That's McGruff the crime dog.
Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. Which, why is that still embedded in my brain? But that's how I know it's not local.
I did not remember it was Chicago, but yeah, that was like the Reagan era, like be tough on crime. It's up to you to solve crimes too kind of thing.
He's still, I feel like you can still find him on these like faded out signs around town threatening to report crime.
It definitely feels of a different era. But what are your guys' favorite mascot here in Pittsburgh?
I like the Pennsylvania Resources Council. They have a very mischievous looking green bug.
So cute.
Yeah, it's the litter bug. I think the antenna really do it for me.
I'm going to keep it classic here. I will say Steely McBeam.
Ooh.
Purely because like it seems impossible for a sports mascot made out of, what are they made out of? Like felt, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
To have a chiseled jaw, and yet somehow he achieves that. Like great bone structure.
Have you ever seen him with the helmet off though?
Ooh.
The helmet comes off and he's like balding and it feels very right for Pittsburgh.
I have a funny story about this mascot. When I was in elementary school, they were creating the mascot because the Steelers didn't have one. And they did a contest for people to name it and design it. And my name for the Steelers mascot was Allegheny Al. And I thought that was really good.
Bodie McBoatface won out, I guess.
My favorite, did you guys know that Alcosan has a mascot?
Only because of you. Otherwise, I would have no idea.
I was not aware.
We're talking about Allegheny Sanitation Authority. It has a mascot, Frankie the Fish. I think they're great.
I love that Francesca loves a Frankie.
Yes, we love
Frankie
a Frankie.
loves a Frankie.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. Our music is by Benji. Mallory Falk is our lead producer. Audio producer is Sophia Lowe. And Francesca DeBecco writes our newsletter. I'm your host, Megan Harris. We will be off on Monday for Labor Day, so we will see you on Tuesday with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend, everyone. We are going to need some street sweeping with all those lantern flies. It's rough. It's rough out there.
Yeah, you're right.